Welcome back to CrossTalk. My name is Randy Weiss. We're here with my brother Harley Kolterman. I got to tell you this story. One of the brothers that we work with in Cuba, they have been kind of instrumental in our work that we're doing with Today with God in the Cuban Spanish version, where we've taken 3 books of the Bible in word for word, dramatic reenactment, theatrical release format, and broken it up into segments, episodic programs with contextual teaching that we've provided, and a curriculum in Cuban Spanish that sort of helps people who are unfamiliar with the gospel account to be able to easily make sense of things, and they're trained to use the segments after they come to faith. They're trained to take these segments and go out and use them in their own outreach, in their own evangelistic mission work. So one of the brothers who was a part of one of the churches where we've ministered and shared this material, and they've helped produce some of the Cuban Spanish voiceovers, one of the brothers felt God was telling him to take these programs into the prison. So the pastor said, okay, go ahead. He went to the prison. And it was a maximum security prison where all the baddest of the bad are locked up. He went in, he went to the warden, and he said, God has told me to bring this here to let these people see this material. And the warden said, you can't go in there. He said, no, I need to bring this in there. He said, no, you don't understand. These people are criminally insane. They're murderers. They're violent. They're uncontrollable. And you can't go in there. And he says, no, I have to go in there, and I've got to let them see this video. And the warden said, look, if you're insistent, fine, we will open the door. You'll go in, but we will not protect you. We will not guarantee your safety, and we can't assure that you will come out. And the brother said, God has told me to bring this here to let them see this, so I'm going to have to do that. He went in, and the Bible is not permitted in the prison. They have no Bibles in the prisons. They're forbidden. I don't know why. They're just forbidden. But they let him in with this video of the Bible and a little bit of the teaching that I did. And he showed the program, and all these bad guys are standing around. And one of them, he turns around when it's done, and the guy's crying. And he just broke. And this man, he came to the Lord from watching this little bit of video. Well, it turned out he was the ringleader. He was the worst of the worst. And because he came to faith, it all of a sudden was acceptable for some of these other really horrendous sinners, like me and you. There's really not a lot of difference between the measure of sin. One sin's all it takes to make you a sinner. But this man was the worst of the worst. But because it was okay for him, these other men began coming to faith. And now this fella is welcomed back to share this video. They still won't let a Bible in the prison, but this man shares the video and people come to faith. God is doing amazing things in the island nation of Cuba.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen over and over again that people are coming to the Lord and they're sharing the gospel. But that's really what it means to go make disciples, isn't it?
Yes.
They're getting it. They're really, really getting it. One of the pastors told me that there had been a pretty big revival kind of towards the collapse of the former Soviet Union, when many of the finances were withdrawn, and that people were coming to the churches, by the hundreds and sometimes by the thousands, overwhelming the situation. They were seeing miracles. They were seeing all kinds of things happening. But then after things subsided a little bit, they discovered that people were just kind of falling away again and going back into their own patterns. He said to me that as pastors, they had all gotten together across the cities and began to repent and ask God to forgive them for not raising up people who could make disciples of those who were coming to the Lord.
Yes.
And when they did that, they had a resolve really to change that. And so as a result of that, they began to train young men and women in the gospel and in sharing and in leading and in starting home groups and so forth. And that as a result of that, now they were at a place where they could not only win, but they could make disciples and reproduce themselves and others over and over again, which I think is what you're seeing the results of now.
Yes. There are seminaries in Cuba, and I was unaware of this until we started working in the land. But now these seminaries, I'm so thankful that God has made a way. They've embraced these materials that God had us to prepare.
Right.
They've embraced the content, and they're using these videos as classes with the curriculum for the seminary students. And before they can graduate, they have to go out and plant a new church, or they're not graduating.
I believe that. That's the way it is.
The brother sent back a report just recently that through his contacts, the people he's working with, and he's only working, there's several denominations that are using this stuff, but through his contacts, there were 30,000 people that have seen the material.
Wow.
And 5,000 people came to faith.
Awesome.
God is at work. There's a revival taking place in Cuba.
Yes.
God's alive. We shouldn't be surprised.
One of the other amazing things about it is that the denominations are not fighting each other either.
That is absolutely true, and it's huge.
They're working together. I mean, I've met, people that are Pentecostal and Baptist people and others that are friends and working together. In the harvest field, I know of a ministry that actually uses sports ministry.
Baseball in particular?
Yeah, baseball in particular, to reach out with the gospel. And it's not a denominational thing. They're reaching everybody, and they play the games, and they provide camps, youth camps for kids to enjoy the game and also to receive discipleship materials and so forth. It's really, really tremendous what God is doing.
Harley, I would ask you to talk to our audience and tell them what they need to know.
Well, we're called to be followers of Christ, and what that means is that we should be doing what He said to do. And what He said to do was to make disciples of all nations. He didn't say make converts. He didn't say get people to church, get them in the building, fill the building. He just said go make disciples. And He sort of left it up to you and to me to kind of sort out how that looks and how that's done. And I don't think there's any cookie cutter method to do anything, but I do know that we need to be engaged. So I really, really want to encourage you, wherever you are, whatever neighborhood or family you were born into or live at, just get engaged and begin to share your faith with people. Love them. Listen to them, discern, respond to them, and let the love of Jesus flow through you, and be maybe the only Jesus that someone sees. Let Him live through you. Paul said it this way, Christ in you, the hope of glory. So let's go out and do it together.
I just want to thank you for being here with us, Harley. You have been a blessing in my life. You have been a blessing in my children's lives. You're a gracious and humble and powerful servant of the living God. And I love you, man. I really, really love you. I count it such a privilege to know you and have you as my friend. Thank you for being here. And I want to thank you for being able to have been here with us as well. I will ask you to be praying for my brother Harley Kolterman, for his church in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and pray for revival in Cuba. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for our nation, because we're in trouble if we don't have a revival here. Till next time, shalom and God bless you.